they've done. They are a major hub. Accra International Airport is, I think, the largest in West Africa. So they've done some things, but the debt profile really has helped them. So I would say that, so we think if every country goes through a cycle, these are cyclical. So there's no country is bad, no country is good. It's how you manage the downturn, because you will go down and come back up and reinvent yourself. So Ivory Coast has had a civil war. Ivory Coast reporting stellar growth. Rwanda had a total genocide, and enjoyed one of the highest growth rates. So post-conflict countries in Africa are very profitable, but some countries go into conflict, never recover and go into perpetual conflict. A point of example is Democratic Republic of Congo. Some have become perpetual autocracies, like in Uganda. We went for Idi Amin, then war, and then we have Museveni, who's also on a rampage. So you see what's happening in Kenya. Kenya Supreme Court had the courage to do the right thing, but even then now, looking at things. So we never really know when it comes to Africa as to how to delink political risk from market risk. So that's the way I see it.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, touching on the Kenya Supreme Court, should there be a counter judgment against the elections at the Supreme Court of Nigeria that could potentially affect the status quo as we see it now? What do you think could be the potential economic outfall in Nigeria?
This is when I say heads you lose, tails you lose. So let us state, if you say the election was not fair and you cancel it, the people who won will say no. If you say it was fair and the people who lost. So you could come up with a hybrid. Say, okay, in certain areas, so you can rerun it in those places and then can revalidate, and then you could lead to a runoff. But whichever way you do it, never happens. The victors and the vanquished and everything have to come around and put the nation first. Easy for me to say that because I'm not a politician, but I do know the consequences of political misunderstandings leading to political violence and leading to entrenched crisis, which becomes irretrievable. So we've seen that happen in Ireland until they resolved the problems politically, constitutionally. We saw that happen in Slovenia and the Czech Republic. We saw the failure to do that in Yugoslavia, which led to Serbia, Croatia, and all the others, and the genocide in former Yugoslavia. We've seen that happen, and failure to do it compared to what is happening in Lebanon. There you have Hezbollah, the Party of God, and Phalanges and others. So there are a lot of examples to show that here the economy has a lot of potential and the politics is not right, then there'll be no potential. All you have is potential for crisis. So it calls for one, full-headedness, two, maturity, and ideological unity, not tribal or ethnic unity. And it calls for leadership that is respected and mature. It's not about primitive accumulation of wealth. It's not that. It's about leading people with a sense of purpose. And when I say leading, not an individual, the leadership team. Because what you are seeing today, people running around, if this one wins, we are going to be there so we can share. If this one wins, yeah. You see, basically, what you have in the Nigerian political class, and what I'm best described in a book called Barbarians at the Gate. Everybody's just running there. And in the end, there'll be no gate, and there'll be no barbarians, and there'll be nothing. unfortunately.
Unfortunately, thank you for that. Okay, there are a number of questions here, like from Michael and Abimbola, asking about stocks, and I guess this is from your presentation where you highlighted the drop in real returns, in equities. Is here that say which stock should one invest in NGX now? Another one from Bimbola says, in your opinion, is it still advisable to invest in shares? So maybe you want to touch on what shares are defensible and, in light of what is going on.
Okay, first of all, you have cyclical stocks and defensive stocks. But in the end, what I try to do, our advice, and that's, I think I can speak for Alpha Morgan clearly, that you look at sectors before you look at companies. Any company in a sector, any sector that is outperforming the GDP growth rate should be a sector that should be of interest. One. Two, any sector, any company that is outperforming the sector also becomes a company that is interesting to look at. And any sector that has more than 40% market share in that industry is what we call a dominant player. So he has financial clout and muscle. The only problem is that, and it's not a problem really, it's that almost all of these companies are what we call, they are regime related, positively regime related. So you cannot say that because of the change of government or change of personalities, then they'll be out. Everybody, after the swearing in and everybody will go and bribe their way into the good books of whoever is there and all that. The party starts again. But unfortunately, a lot of these sectors, a lot of these guys are beneficiaries of imperfect markets and barriers to entry. Those barriers to entry are the things that are actually impeding the success of the country. So you have to have the courage to dismantle these barriers. And the normal law or rule of the thumb is that the king kills the kingmaker. If not, he will not rule. So we must go out and get rid of the kingmakers very quickly. If not, you have nowhere to go. Well, I'm not recommending that, but that's the only way that you will survive. So all these sectors do well, all these companies will do well. But then let's try and remember and see which of them are dependent to any limited extent on barriers to entry and government patronage. If you see that, like in telecom, there's no patronage, nothing. There's no way of substituting the $3-4 billion of investment in in telco infrastructure. So you're done. You're either MTN, Airtel, Go or nothing. And what will happen to MTN? The ones that happen, Vodafone will come and buy them out. And if you're having it at 250 or 270 naira a share, you'll probably sell out at about 500 or 600. You make at least 100 or 200% return. So you can't lose money in those stocks. So I think that whichever you look at it, tomorrow is likely to be better than yesterday.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to take a few questions on the exchange rates, and this is from Tola. I'll just link them up together. It says, kindly shed more light on the exchange rate convergence and how it should lead to an appreciation of the Naira in the parallel market. The other one on the exchange rates was, okay, in terms of political stability, there are people who believe that once there's political stability, there will be an appreciation in our exchange rates versus, the US dollar. Can you clarify that?
Okay, the whole idea of the exchange rate is the price of one currency in terms as it relates to another currency. The interest rate is the price of money. So if we're giving up my money, get it. So what is a price? A price is the intersection between supply and demand. But one thing is there in the pricing mechanism, there's what we call the budget constraint. In other words, you have limited amount of money to buy goods. Nobody goes to the market and says, just buy. When the money is finished in your wallet, You go home. That's what it is. There's a fixed amount of naira available to buy foreign exchange. So two things are happening. There are two markets. There's market A, which is the official market, which is cheaper. And there's market B, which is the unofficial market. So the first thing to do, you go to the cheaper market if it's available and buy there. If in that market, things become more expensive, you will take from your wallet and buy. What is left in your wallet to go to the other market is less. And if everybody goes to that second market with less naira, what happens? The demand falls. And if the demand falls, what follows? Price falls. The price falls, that means the naira has appreciated in that market. That is a simple logic. It's not rocket science. It's as simple as that. But what happens at times in the pricing mechanism is what we call fear. You fear that when you need it, you will not get it. Therefore, what you do, you're going to borrow to buy because I don't want to need it. It's like if you are a diabetic and you need insulin, and they say this is the last one, you will go and buy, you will borrow to buy, and the price of insulin, even though supply. So the fear of the unknown makes them buy and continue, and then the fear of the unknown continue to make people, and it becomes a spiral, never ending. So, and in pricing mechanism, we take aberrational events out of the equation. We look at normal times. So in normal times, and these are normal times, or should be normal times, if the naira depreciates in the official market, it must appreciate in the parallel market. And after that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you went and bought a Shabby to sell, when it was 800 naira to $1, then it becomes 600 naira to $1. The woman who goes and buy the new Ashabi will have more and you will not be able to sell. Then you will have to sell the Ashabi you bought at 800 at 600 to be able to go back to buy another one. That's what happens.
All right, thank you. I have a question from Sadiq Bello. He says, what do you believe will be the impact of the recent implementation of the Naira redesign policy on the banking confidence of the people at the bottom of the pyramid, having been denied access to funds in their accounts for this long?
Okay, very nice and interesting question. One goes back to every time you have an economic issue, go back to the basic place. If anybody tries to complicate it with all sorts of high-flying equations, that person either does not understand what he's talking about, or is determined to confuse you so he can cheat you of your money. So the first thing is that what is money? And what are the characteristics of money? So money is A, what the government says money, legal tender. But more importantly, money is what money can buy. If the government says today, oh, the legal tender is now black, and people refuse to accept it, it has no value. So what the medium of exchange currency of money is different from legal tender. Shouldn't be, it should be the same. But when there's a difference, people go for medium of exchange. Right? So the effect of this has been explained earlier on, is that people have now seen the difference between money as a legal tender, money as a medium of exchange, and more importantly, money as a store of value. So those are fun. We are practicing it and seeing it in the people in the ATMs, people in the market, it goes back to the basic definitional issues of money. What is money? And is anybody accepting it? And if nobody's accepting it, then why would I hold it? Well, what does the bank do as a financial intermediary? Pay your money in and take it out. When there's a crisis of confidence, when the bank becomes a trap, nobody puts money into a trap. Right? And if all the money, the question before was that, there's too much money outside the banking system. Therefore, then they come and change it. And then we'll mobilize money and the banks. What has happened now? More money has gone outside the banking system than before. But people do not believe that the banking system is what it's supposed to be. So every day you say things that people do not believe. It's like a checking account. Credibility is like a checking account. Every day you draw from it, the balance reduces. So if I go on television every day and say, and people say, you said so yesterday. You said so. Therefore, I'm not going. Then there goes your credibility. So as a country, as authorities, we saw our credibility eroded little by little until where it has got to a point where nobody believes. So we have to come back and say, it is, right? So the reality is that I think in another 2 weeks max, money will be legal tender, will be medium of exchange. Medium of exchange will be, I don't know whether it's been store value. Let us just say that. Because store value means we are going to inflation. So let's say legal tender will be medium of exchange, and medium of exchange will be legal tender. But there's a problem. Between now and December, there's new money, old money. So there's a bi-monetary system. Again, confusion. Right? And therefore, quite frankly, I do not know. But all I do know is that the fact that there's supply of notes, the fact that people will now start going back to the banking system and putting a little bit, but once bitten, twice shy. In wherever I come from, they say if you are bitten by a snake, when you see a thread, you will jump. So people are not going to carry all the money put in the bank. I have my colleague here who is afraid of banks, who is afraid of injection.
Thank you, Bismarck. I think we have quite time for just one more question from Shino Shofola, SAN, and he's not sure you really answered the question of whether to wait on Europe, on the Euro bonds. If you've bought Euro bonds and you've held on, with what is going on, where you see bond values have dropped as a result of interest rate hikes. Should people play the waiting game? Should they just cut their losses? What is your advice?
You see, once you bought a bond, if you hold to maturity, you will get your face value and you get your coupon.
What if it's a perpetual bond?
No, if you bought a Euro bond, and the worst that will happen is that you wait till, if you bought a 2030 bond, you wait till 2030. But between now and 2030, you'll be getting your coupon every 6 months, right? There's a risk of default. If the person who issued that bond defaults, what happens? You need to go and sell it in the market to somebody who is willing to wait, right? And that person will buy it at a discount. So usually, if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. Usually when there's crisis, if you sell the bond, you're taking a haircut. If possible, you're not careful, you'll take a head cut. Not only your hair will go, your head will go. So what people advise is that you are in already, do nothing, hold on the bond. Countries don't go bust. Countries refinance their debt sooner or later, right? So Eurobonds are not just issued by countries, mind you. First Bank is issuing Eurobonds. Eurobonds are dollar instruments issued outside the United States. That's why they're called Eurobonds. So there's Access Bank Eurobond, there's UBA Eurobond. But you see, you can't be older than your father. So the thing is that if Nigeria's rating is downgraded, then Nigerian entities that have issued Eurobonds will automatically be downgraded, irrespective of what happens. That's why in the Eurobond market, we say that you cannot be older than your father, except there's somebody else who was your father. So the reality is that the Nigerian Eurobond issuers, right? If you bought Eurobond, I know there are a lot of people in this webinar bought Nigerian Eurobonds. I do not think that if I bought the Eurobond of Nigerian LNG or I bought the Eurobond of a leading Nigerian bank, that they are likely to default. So don't panic. Moody's will downgrade us, but essentially, maybe the outlook will get better. And if everything is going to collapse, then when day becomes night, everybody's house is affected. So I don't think so. I won't panic.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, our participants, we can't take any more questions. We're way past our closing time. And so we would have to stop with the questions now. Thank you so much, Bismarck. And I'll welcome our managing director for the investment banking subsidiary, George Imadi, to give us the closing remarks.
Thank you, Doi. I want to thank everyone that has found time to be part of this webinar of today. You all agree with me that each webinar in Alpha Morgan has always been an improvement on the past, and today is no exception. We've gotten sufficient knowledge. We are well educated by reason of listening to this, our erudite speaker. I want to first begin by appreciating God for making it possible today. It's been a consistent event program for us. It's not by making, it's God Almighty that has done it, and I brought everybody together to be able to share in the knowledge we have today. But I want to single out our participants, our audience, who have been very, not just attending, but very active and participating. Very engaging. You need to see the torrents of questions that have been coming in, and you need to know the numbers that have attended this webinar, and that is an attestation to the acceptability of the program and to what you are doing to make it worthwhile for us. We don't take it for granted in Alpha Morgan. We deeply appreciate you, and we say God bless you. Keep coming each time we have this webinar, and you'll be better for it at the end of the day. I want to speak of our speaker, that your great knowledge, your erudition, your global economic knowledge has been of immense benefit to all the participants in this webinar. You have become a phenomenon of a sort. The way you aggregate the events locally and globally, and to put everybody together to provide the needed knowledge, the pathway to go for the future, has been of immense benefits. And we deeply appreciate you for that. And we'll continue to say God bless you for availing your time, your resources, your energy, and the passion with which you deliver all of this. As concerning as the situation is, each time we get out of this webinar, we get some suiting effect and the pathway to chart to be able to navigate the future. That is what you have represented for us. And we deeply appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mr. Bismarck Rewani. Lastly, but very, very much not the least, is our group managing director, our host, who has consistently and passionately, for that matter, made this program to happen. Time will fail me to speak about his nature, but I will just say of this that he's a man with a golden heart, with a gold heart, and he's a man that has availed us his resources, his time, everything, and he passionately ensured that this program must hold, not just hold, it must hold successfully. Mr. Adebraimon, we want to say thank you. We want to appreciate you for your commitment and for your passion to ensure that you give to humanity, and from where you also feel you are benefited from, and everybody is happy with you. And please permit me to say that he's hiding something from all of us. He recently celebrated a very, very landmark birthday, 60th birthday. And I will crave the indulgence of everybody that has participated in this webinar to wish our group managing director, Mr. Adebraimon, a very, very happy birthday with a sounding head, with good, with prosperity, with peace of the mind, and everything that the Almighty God will bestow on him. And I want to say congratulations to you, sir, and wish you the very best of the future as God continue to strengthen you to provide and make this program a continuous one. Thank you, everyone. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, we want to draw the curtain, and we fervently look forward to the next edition that will come in the next quarter, the last week of the next quarter, and by the grace of God, and I know it's going to be a better one than we have ever experienced. Thank you for coming, and God bless you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
What is grateful to
That's my boy.
Congratulations, dear.
We at Alpha Morgan understand that every effort you make daily is a journey to create sustainable wealth. That's why Alpha Morgan stays committed to helping you sustain generational growth in wealth so you can focus on other things. Alpha Morgan, funds management, investment banking, financial advisory. Alpha Morgan, your investment banking institution.
Congratulations, dear.
We at Alpha Morgan understand that every effort you make daily is a journey to create sustainable wealth. That's why Alpha Morgan stays committed to helping you sustain generational growth in wealth so you at Alpha Morgan Capital. We know wealth creation is not just for you alone, invest for the next generation as well. Alpha Morgan.
That's my boy.
Congratulations, dear.
We at Alpha Morgan understand that every effort you make daily is a journey to create sustainable wealth. That's why Alpha Morgan stays committed to helping you sustain generational growth in wealth so you